Trading options as a beginner can bring out unexpected surprises. In this video, we will see 9 key pieces of advice on how to trade options safely. "2020 has been a historic year for the markets, as the pandemic lockdown attracted millions of new traders to the Robinhood platform, which had a great year outperforming everybody else. But despite the great year, it did come under tremendous scrutiny and lawsuits for various reasons. While Robinhood claims their mission is to democratize finance and give access to everyone, the lawsuit claims that it is designing it like a video game to attract and take advantage of young and inexperienced traders. And all this comes after a young 20-year-old customer committed suicide by mistakenly assuming that he attracted a new debt of $700,000 after an options trade that went wrong. While a family member shared some details of what may have happened in the account, Robinhood did promise that they will make tremendous improvements to the platform. Now, as a trader, it is everyone's own responsibility to improve and educate themselves before entering into risky adventures like options trading, unless you are happy to lose large amounts of money and share it on social media for internet points. The fact is that every new account is given a handout that clearly explains the potential risk of trading options, but honestly, no one reads it. It clearly says what are the risks involved when trading multi-leg options. Anyways, I have some of the important risks laid out here for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. I am currently working on a beginner course for options trading, but let's think of an option like a key to a locker which has 100 shares of a stock. Now, until the last day of the option's expiration date, this key can change multiple hands, but on the last day, it has to be redeemed for the shares. At that time, if you don't have the shares, that is where the problem starts. Here are the 9 tips we are going to discuss today. The first one is absolutely to find a mentor that you can talk to about your trades. When you trade advanced instruments like options, you will often find yourself stuck, and having someone you know very well that has seen similar problems before will go a long way in making your journey a smoother one. A mentor can be a friend or a family member or whoever introduced you to options trading. And if you don't have really anyone, you could still sign up and reach out to online communities like Reddit, which is where I picked up most of my knowledge in addition to watching YouTube videos. Sometimes if you liked somebody in particular, you could even directly message them on Reddit and they might be happy to help you as well. Here is one of the users I talked to who had a negative account balance of $195,000, and he was happy to hear that it's normal and it will be fine when the next trading day starts. This is one of the key challenge with using Robinhood because their customer care has no phone support and they might take 2 to 5 days to respond to emails. This is where a mentor can especially help you when you are just starting out. And this brings me to the next aspect, which is education. I can't stress this enough because options trading is a serious business, and if you don't know what you're doing, you will have serious regrets. I remember taking over 4 months to learn before I made my first options trade. I hardly ever felt like I was stuck on any trade because I was constantly learning every day by watching YouTube videos or reading various questions and answers on Reddit. I did find the website Tasty Trade to be very helpful, and I watched their program like almost every day. It was totally free, and these are the nicest and knowledgeable finance people out there doing some great work in the options trading area. But one challenge with these videos I have watched is that they go straight into how options work And it can be like harder for an average guy from the street with no finance background to just pick it up right away. I had to really scramble and pick it up with bits and pieces before it really started making more sense. I started this channel Options ASAP, which is short for as simple as possible, specifically to solve this problem. I have been already working on a beginner course for options trading, and I will upload it soon. The next thing I want to talk about is assignments. Each broker handled this differently, and you want to understand beforehand how Robinhood or any other brokerage handle this type of situation. For example, you will receive an email that looks like this if you have such a position on your account that's expiring today. In this case, it appears I have to potentially sell 200 shares of Tesla, which I obviously don't have. So the best thing to do is actually to go ahead and close this trade before the market closes. And you want to be extra careful when you are trading such high dollar stocks with a small account. So it is better to just stick to smaller stocks like $10 or less, like this one here. So it is just better to stick to stocks that are $10 or less until you learn options in and out. So in this case, I have traded a calendar spread strategy, which involves buying and selling the same option for different expirations. It is only worth like $25, but if I am assigned 500 stocks, it could be almost like 5,000. So once again, the best decision was to close this trade. Here is a different email that I got from another brokerage for the same situation on how they might have handled the expiration. I really like Tasty Walks, and if you are interested to try them, I will leave a link for you in the description down below. Overall, the best case scenario is not to get to the last day at all, which is what my next tip is all about. So when you're starting out, you absolutely don't want to even receive such an email, because you might think that these options will expire and you don't have any risk. But I have seen some cases where a large after hours move might result in an assignment still. So closing a trade before the expiration will go a long way in minimizing disasters. So if you ask me whether this assignment can happen before the expiration date, the answer is unfortunately yes. Assignments can happen anytime during the trade, but it is very rare. But there are some special cases like dividends, which is what I'm going to talk about next. If a company pays like $1 dividend, it could mean that for 100 shares, you could get $100 more if you went and took those shares out. So it is possible that even if it is not the last day, you could still see an assignment to sell 100 shares, okay? And the best case scenario is to not even trade such stocks, especially on the weeks where a dividend is being paid out. So here is one example on Intel where I got an assignment on a Wednesday. I had to sell 200 shares back, but the trade got closed out by the risk management team of Robinhood. It was taken care of, but it could have been avoided. The next thing you want to try and not do is to put everything into one trade. So unless it's money that you can afford to lose, I would say you really don't want to put everything in one big trade. Think of it like an insurance company which gives different insurance to different car owners. If some of the cars get into an accident, they still turn a profit because they have sold more insurance to other car owners throughout that month. So similarly, when you trade options, you really don't want to put everything in one basket. You try to split out your risk and maybe not try and deploy more than maybe 5% of your capital, or something something that makes more sense. How much you want to allocate for each trade is called position sizing. The seventh piece of advice is about frequent reviews. Unlike stocks, options trade can change in value really fast. So you should constantly review what's going on with your trades and make adjustments to them or close them if necessary to prevent large losses. And the best way to do that is to actually have a plan in place for what you're going to do when the stock moves in either direction or trends sideways. By preparing yourself for all situations, you take out the stress factor and also get better as a trader. And for this last one, I might even make a complete video about it. Liquidity is very important when it comes to options because unlike stocks, you might see really wide bid-ask prices for some of the option contracts. So you want to be very careful which stocks and strike prices you are picking to trade options. Apple is one of the heavily traded stocks in the options market. So if you see this 140 call here, the bid-ask price is just 2 cents apart. This difference between the bid-ask price is also called as slippage. What this essentially means is that if you buy and immediately sell it back, the maximum you could lose is just $2. But consider this other example for DoorDash, where the bid-ask spread is 55 cents wide. So trading options on such stocks will immediately put you at a disadvantage. But if you can still turn a big profit, it should be okay to trade them. But often, a small win could actually end up as a losing trade just because of this slippage. So remember that. Then that is the volume and open interest. In the case of Apple, we saw over 100,000 contracts traded for the day, whereas DoorDash has only 266 contracts traded. So this would also mean that you won't get very close prices, and opening and closing them could be very hard. And then another thing to remember here is how Robinhood displays the midpoint of the options prices. The midpoint can be found for a stock like Apple, but in this DoorDash example, the price of the 150 call is displayed as 193, but unless you expand the chain and verify the actual price, you might never know the original value of it. It could be even 0 to 100 and Robinhood might show 50, but the actual value is 0. Nobody is even willing to buy it. So always remember to verify the bid-ask prices and you should be good to go. This brings us to the end of this episode, and I hope you got a better idea on the areas you need to focus as a beginner trader. I'm sure I may have missed a few, so definitely post them in the comments down below, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Please do subscribe if you are interested in this type of content, and I will catch you in the next video.